So after I dropped out of college, I started to make music and write a lot. I met this guy named Ricky. He always wore funny socks. That's how we kind of met. But I wrote something today I kind of like, and it goes, "My mother would be worried if she knew that his son, who for so long grew, now forgot about food. It's just another mood. At least he tells himself that. Meanwhile, the writing has been on wallpaper, even tile. Fuck it, the bath mat. But I promised Kyle, and that means more to me than self. So if it's all in, I'd be that great white. Only thing, water wouldn't wade and there wouldn't be a fin." I just love that. Water wouldn't wade and there wouldn't be a fin. Bitch, you wouldn't see me. I like that. That's nice. So that's what just after the gym today I wrote that and I fucking liked it. I liked that a lot. But The Creative Act, A Way of Being by Rick Rubin. It's a good read. And some of his things are just like, I know sometimes it doesn't show up well, but like as you can see, there's not many words on this page. It's just like kind of like one-liners or one sentence. I don't know if it's even configured as a sentence, but it's something along those lines, and that mirror is fucking annoying. But let's read one and share our thoughts. That sounds fun. The person who makes something today is the person who makes something today isn't the same person who returns to work tomorrow. That's pretty nice because I do believe that it's like yeah, I wouldn't even consider you really being a person when you make something, because maybe it has your touch or your essence, but I feel like you kind of, I don't know if this is too grandiose of a word. I like the word grandiose, but like the person who makes something today isn't the same person. It's more of an embodiment of an ideal or like an unobtainable thing, and then we're just bringing it to reality. Um, and it's like you being your human self can't really connect to that. That's some sort of metaphysical connection, if I'm using that word correctly. Um, I just think it's another realm that you go into when you create something. It's like the creativity. Albert Einstein, I have this book, The World as I See It, and it's just a collection of things he wrote, uh, like letters and just things like that. And it's just interesting how much he emphasizes creativity. Like he acts like it is the holy grail of information or innovation, I guess you could say. And I mean, it is. Creativity is. And I also, when I think about creativity, like looking back at when I guess this could be around like the '70s when the hippie movement, I guess, was fairly popular or out there. But design and architecture, like those, oh my gosh, the conversation pits that they used to have in houses, that shit is so dope. And it's like, yeah, I'm gonna have one of them. Why would you not want to have levels to the house, bitch? Like Kramer, I don't know if you've seen Seinfeld, but there's an episode where he wants to build levels in his apartment, and he bets Jerry that he bets Jerry that he can make levels in his apartment, and Jerry obviously knows that he can't do it. And then when he doesn't do it, Jerry says, "You lost the bet. You didn't do it." He's like, "No, but I never did it, so it doesn't count." And it's just Seinfeld's a funny fucking show. Larry David, Jerry Seinfeld, I like that type of comedy, I guess. I don't know. It's just comical to me. I apologize for going on the rants like I do. I know sometimes they probably don't make sense, but it's just the way my brain kind of works and it just goes around and around. And I like to talk about kind of everything as it comes up. Art creates a profound connection between the artist and the audience. Through that connection, both can heal. That I feel personally, just because I know when I first started making music, like I have a SoundCloud account and um yeah, the SoundCloud account was such a fucking cool thing I did, man. Like friends were so not supportive, I guess, of that, but it was such an important step for me to make to put myself out there creatively like that. But I'll never forget when so basically I dropped out of school, broke up with my girlfriend, and then my girlfriend made a Twitter post about like something. What was it? My ex dropped out and became a SoundCloud rapper. So that was the name of my first song. Is my ex dropped out and became a SoundCloud rapper, and I just thought it was such a yeah, just a good way to just introduce it because it's like I didn't really care about the quality. It's my first song; it didn't really matter. As you can like you at least for me, I can tell that like my ability and my cadence and making certain beats and modifying things and like it's just getting better and better. So like you can hear that as well. And I think seeing that progression is very important and a lot of people don't do that. A lot of people find like when they blow up they delete everything from their previous life, and it's so weird they do that. Like let me see who you actually are, not just like when you started to pop off. Let me see who you've been. That's what I'm interested in, at least. Like time tells everything in a sense where it's like if you stand the test of time, then okay, that I have more belief in your opinion, I guess, and that it's not just some form of regurgitation through a source that you heard or otherwise. This is why Rick Rubin is Rick Rubin. Sometimes disengaging is the best way to engage. And I'll say that shit is so prevalent in my life currently. I don't really talk about that on here, but I do Olympic weightlifting, so I'll do clean and jerks and snatches. I work out 2 to 3 times every day. I don't really take a break, meaning throughout the week. Like I basically work out 7 days a week. And so me learning how to kind of step away from that while still feeling like I'm doing something because it's very difficult for me to physically feel like I have accomplished something for that day if I know I could have done something and I didn't. Because I think about all these people who, the first thing that popped in my head is probably worst case scenario, but paraplegic or something, just somebody who has no ability really to do physical activity. And it's like, I'm never going to take that for granted. And I would say I'm fairly exceptional and that's evidence based. And I feel like it is just something that I would be disrespecting if I didn't put my best effort towards. And so that's what I've been committed to for the past decade or so. It's been a little rocky, obviously, throughout that period of time. And I think that's also a thing with all of fitness. It's like, okay, you're 16 years old, deadlifting, whatever the fuck you're deadlifting. What are you doing when you're 26, bud? I'll tell you, it's a road. It's a bumpy one. There's a quote from Elucid where he says, "The road unpaved, the road less traveled wasn't graveled for safety." All right, and it's like if you're really trying to do something in an anomaly sense, you're gonna have to realize you're going to have to build up a lot of self confidence, the ability to kill self doubt when it comes about because it's a never ending nuisance. It will always be around. It's a physical attribute that we have in our brain. I don't know if physical attribute's the right word, but it's something that we have always. And I'll say specifically with like myself in Olympic weightlifting or painting and making music, anything, it's like there's so much doubt prior to the process of creating. But once you start creating there, it becomes so much momentum and confidence built off that momentum. Momentum is one of the biggest keys to success, I feel like, and I have no idea what the keys to success are, but it just has to be. Also, consistency and adaptability. One of the things I've learned recently is that consistency. A lot of times, people think discipline and sticking to a regiment, rigid, things like that. But I've learned as of recent that adaptability alongside consistency is the best way to reach somewhere. Because if you think about it, yeah, you can be consistent and be doing all the stuff you normally do, but there's going to be, I have things that happen to me. Say like I've never had shoulder things, but say like my rotator cuff has pain or my knee is feeling a little wonky. It's not like I can just keep doing the same things. You're going to have to kind of move around and figure out how to adapt and heal that. I don't know if heal's the right word, but deal with that situation. You can't just keep the same thought process. I think I've been in gyms. I've worked in gyms. Specifically, I've worked in gyms for 3 years. I've been in gyms for 10 years. But I've seen, and like what I mean by that is I've been at a location for an extended period of time. So I've seen the people who are going to the gym. And the majority of people I see when I join the gym and then when I leave that said gym, if even if it's maybe 2 or 3 years later, I don't see much of a change. And it's again, it's because there's no adaptability, I believe, in their regimen. And it's like you kind of have to have that. First of all, though, you do have to build the fundamentals basically, like get the fundamentals down to a T, and then you can kind of add on top of that. I think what stagnates a lot of people is they don't spend enough time in the tutorial. I know every time I played a video game, I would fucking skip the tutorial, and then I'd be playing the game, and I'd be like, "Oh, what the fuck am I supposed to do?" And my dumb ass should have done the tutorial. And it's like the same thing with any pursuit, and especially in fitness. It's like you need to build the beginning or the foundation first and then go from there, because it's not going to look pretty, and most of the time it doesn't, and most of the time you see people who look the exact same. And I what I mean by that is like the muscle groups that are developed on their bodies are generally the same ones, because most people only target the major muscle groups in their body. That's why I specifically train with Olympic movements and antagonist movements. Antagonist movements have been referenced by Arnold Schwarzenegger in Pumping Iron, where he talked about doing pull ups and bench press. It's also been referenced by a track and field Olympian. I think he was a shock putter, and I apologize, I don't know his name. But he also did antagonist muscle training. However, he did it from a perspective of doing a maximal contraction and then a maximal stretch. So he would do a maximum bench press where he like went to failure, and then he would do a hyper stretch, like really stretching every fiber there is there. I have not personally done the maximal contraction to the maximal stretch, but I've done the opposing movements. And the opposing movements, I cannot tell this enough. And when I worked at gyms, like I was a fitness director at one, and I was basically in charge of a personal training department. And every single person that I would talk to about training, and even at gyms when I'm just working out, I will mention antagonist muscle training, because I feel it is one of the cornerstones of my strength and the durability I've had throughout the years. I don't think my body would have held up nearly as well as it has if I didn't do the accessory movements like I did. That's why, again, I have a problem, not a problem, but I prefer an environment where I have machines with resistance and cables, and then also platforms with a barbell and bumper plates like that, because there is you need the both worlds. You can't just have one. And a lot of people just choose one. And it's you can tell, like you can tell. And it's like if you were just to mix the two, it would be a lot better. It's like basically what I'll do is I will medicate the tension and stress that I put on my tendons, ligaments, and joints through the hypertrophy I do and in the antagonist movements. Meaning, so if I had a big shoulder day, I will do a lot of probably lat pull downs, lat pullovers, and then shoulder press at very, very lightweight and high reps, meaning upwards of 40 probably. I like the range of 25 for the most part, but sometimes like I will really push it, just because I'll like get to 20 or so and stop counting and keep going, right? Like, because that's enough. I think time under tension is more important than most things are for my body type, for what I'm trying to go for. I prefer, like I would say like a Brad Pitt from Fight Club type aesthetic, right? Just lean, Bruce Lee. I mean, that's if I ever am compared to him, that would be a very honorable thing for me. But yeah, just being lean and muscular, not this monstrosity thing that's just a piece of meat that's just bulgy everywhere. Like I like definition. I like purposeful muscle, meaning like it has a purpose on you. It's not just so you can go like that. I respect bodybuilding. It is a absolute sport, and the people who are involved in it sacrifice a tremendous amount and put in an immense amount of work. There's nothing against that. It's just that me personally, when I look at the fitness industry, I look at this sector as the way I want to be. I'd been into bodybuilding when I was a little bit younger, but I wouldn't say I ever got that serious with it, you know. Yeah, like I got to my biggest, like I don't know, I probably weighed like I think 198 was my biggest when I was bodybuilding. Now I'm I think around 205, and I'm not concerned with it. And to go further into that, just I guess because we're on this topic, I fast every single day. I don't eat today, for instance. I have not eaten. Yeah, I fast every day. I don't know if that is probably some sort of food disorder or not, but every time I've gotten blood work, there has been no deficiency in any of my, vitals or whatever I don't think vitals is the right word, but, my markers or measurements, whatever. Um, and yeah, I just feel that my body is accustomed to it. I don't know. I eat mainly meat. That's basically just meat, protein, you know, a little bit of dairy. I know dairy is not necessarily the best, but I like vanilla ice cream. That will be a late night snack for me. I kind of will do some like heavy carbs, I guess, at night to because I need to obviously replenish something or put something in the tank. But I really don't like carbs. I don't really eat pasta. I do like bread, unfortunately, even though I guess it's not good for you. But everything in moderation. That's why I really ground beef. I'm not a picky eater, so like every night is really just ground beef for me. Ground beef and sweet potatoes. Um, that's the secret sauce to me. I don't see how it's been any detriment to me. I've only continued to grow. So, you know, and the fasting, it's like when I work out fasted, it's, I don't know, it's so much quicker. There's no lag in my body, it seems like, from the mental to the body, like the mind muscle connection. It's just a straight, like, connection. And I like that. Um, I mean, if you think about it, I remember reading this, and I wish I did more research into it, but I believe when I was getting my personal training certification, they were talking about how when you eat food, X amount of blood goes into your stomach, right? And in my head, this is how I think about it. If blood is going into your stomach to start the process of digestion, and you have a pre-workout meal, so that means that your blood is going into your stomach to start digestion, and then you go work out and you're trying to reroute that blood. I just feel like the pump is different. And every time I fasted and done like every time I work out, it's an instantaneous thing. Instantaneous. And that's why I feel like I can have a 30-minute workout and reap the benefit that someone's spending 2 hours or 3 hours eating 300 grams of protein. Kids are eating ridiculous amounts of protein. I was doing research into that, and all right, there was a scholarly article that I can't cite specifically, but it was talking about how zero point 0.8 kilograms, zero point 0.8 grams of protein per kilogram was the, I believe the FDA, there's some like daily value recommended amount, and that was what it was. And then it went up to 1.2 grams per kilogram. That was for supposedly athletes. A kilogram is 2.2 pounds. When I was working at gyms, and even now, I just hear people say, oh, a gram of protein per pound of body weight. And it's like we're over consuming in such an incredible amount. I don't think our bodies are and this might be just hypothetical or made up, but fucking I fast every day, work out 2, 3 times a day, and am strong. I don't know what, could be wrong with what I'm doing, but it might be. I don't know. I don't know. I just think if people, yeah, just consumed less, they would understand they wouldn't need so much. There's famous, not famous, I guess. I don't know if that's the right word, but like less is more in terms of talking, a lot of things. Like if you have less, you ration it out, and it's just less is more in every sense, in every sense. And then people doing the foam rollers and all the warming up and things like that in the gym. It's like I don't know how to put this, but I don't mean any disrespect. I haven't touched a foam roller, and I don't know if I have seen someone use a foam roller that I have aspired to look like. Most of the time, people on foam rollers Like it's just they think they're doing something, I think. Like I think someone told them along some type of time that like, hey, this helps you like relieve tension and things like that. And I'm sure it does. But spending the first 20 to 30 minutes in the gym doing movements like that is just a waste of your time. Like I'm not even upset about it. I'm just telling you it's a waste of your time. You can do stretches in the morning and at nighttime and then be at the gym and be warmed up. I go to the gym and walk to the platform and start lifting. I don't know what other people get caught up in. Like I don't know what class I missed where it was like we do all these 20 warm-ups to get ready to touch a barbell. Like touch the damn barbell and lift it. I don't know how else to tell it. Like it's as simple as that. You don't need to complicate the shit. Your hip flexors are fine, all right? You don't your pelvic interior tilt, whatever the fuck. It's like stop worrying. Just move and it will be okay if you're doing proper movement and you should be hopefully trying to do proper movement. That should be the main focus of you in the gym, not weight, not the new cool movement you saw on Instagram. It should be the fundamental movements that we do at the gym, like a bench press or I don't even want to say deadlift because it's an incredibly strange thing to see most people deadlift just on their own. It's hazardous, right? But machine based movements where we're just building up the muscles. Yes, I know, like, dumbbells and things like that, you need to build up the stabilizing muscles as well. But I just think for a start, people need to understand just how to do a bench press like this, how to do a shoulder press. Like, people don't have movement patterns automatically engraved in their brain. Like, it needs to be taught to them and it needs to be a process. You can't just dive in. That's why, like, I can't tell you how many times people came to me and said they had shoulder pain. Shoulder pain specifically was probably the number one thing I'd hear, and I could see probably exactly why. I mean, I would see people all the time grab a dumbbell and just go like this, and pardon me, but like, so here, look, I'm going up. So there's resistance from here and then not from here. Here it's just like basically locked out. Maybe my triceps activating, holding it up. And then I'm bringing it back down. Then my shoulder has to catch it basically again and then drop it and then come back up. And bro, use a resistance band. Okay? It's safer. You'll get a crazier burn because you'll be able to do more. You'll be able to do it slower, contract it more, really get a connection. Stop doing the dumbbell. Don't grab a 5 pound plate either. All right, resistance band, TRX band. Well, not TRX band. You could do cable, but no, no. I'm sorry, cable if you're gonna do like cross body, not cable this way, because people do that too. And I just feel like it puts your shoulder in such a vulnerable spot. It just feels like the socket is just moving around solely because they don't most of the time have stability over intricate parts of their joints and less major muscle groups. Because tendons and ligaments take about, I believe, like 6 to 8 months to develop compared to muscles, which are, I think, 3 to 6 weeks. So it's like that's why I stick to a foundation when I get to a certain weight. I won't just jump up and jump up and jump up. Like I will do 10 reps, 10 reps, 10 reps for like probably a month straight just so that I know that that's something that like I can fully handle. Because when I hurt my knee, that's I feel like what happened was I exceeded my potential or I exceeded my ability, right? And so I just wanted to from this time on go slower, build up, and then take a step, stay there, take another step, stay there, take another step, stay there. It's a marathon, not a race. And getting injured really shows you that too. So, I mean, it sucks. A lot of the lessons you have to go through to understand. But yeah, a rule is a way of structuring awareness. I'm not sure about that. A rule is a way of structuring awareness. I guess, yeah, without identifying a problem, how could a problem exist? I want to think about that one later on. A rule is a way of structuring awareness. I don't find it to be awareness. I find it to be a rule is a way of structure. I feel like I don't see how. I'm not saying he's wrong. I'm just saying my interpretation is a rule is a way of structuring. I feel like that's where it should end. Structuring awareness. Found a good passage to read. So, it's not uncommon to long for outward success, hopeful it will fill a void inside ourselves. Some imagine achievement as a remedy to fix or heal a sense of not being enough. Artists who work diligently to accomplish this are rarely prepared for the reality of it. Most aspects of popularity are not as advertised, and the artist is often just as empty as they were before, probably more so. If you are living in the belief that success will cure your pain, when the treatment comes and doesn't work, it can lead to hopelessness. A depression can accompany the realization that what you've spent most of your life chasing hasn't fixed your insecurities and vulnerabilities. More likely, with the stakes and consequences now higher, it has amplified the pressure, and we are never taught how to handle this epic disappointment. Fucking A. We are never taught to handle this disappointment, bro. Like, we are not taught how to navigate life. We're taught how to navigate the infrastructure that's been developed in society, but not life. And it's sad to me to know that kids aren't being taught how to deal with their emotions in a mature and beneficial way. I think a lot of people are kind of just being enabled and allowed to. Uh oh. Technical difficulties have arrived. Now it's light. Nah, I like the yellow type one. Now we got to go through them all. Damn. That's crazy. We found it though. But yeah, man, we're not taught like how to deal with the shit that happens in life. I don't get it. We have 18 years or however much of school to develop ourselves to be ready for this thing, and then we're thrown out into it with no information on it. We don't know how to do our taxes. We don't know how to balance a checkbook. We don't know financial stability or financial literacy unless you've taken specific classes maybe that have perhaps taught you those things. But other than that, you're basically just shit out of luck and figure it out, bud. Hopefully, you got resources or associates or connections that know it and then can guide you or help you because you know being taken advantage of is a common occurrence. All right. A loyal audience can begin to feel like a prison. Fuck. I watched this movie one time. I don't remember what it was called. I think it was called Mama or something. I don't know. A writer and a wife moved to a cabin. The writer had writer's block, couldn't write. Started writing something. I forget what he was writing because I wasn't really watching the movie because the movie was fucking awful. It was gross what they were showing, and that's another thing. I think America's getting this weird fetish with murders, serial killers, all these things. And I'm sorry, I gotta shit. I shouldn't have said that. Fuck. But it's like, yeah, I don't know what this shit is, but people are watching it and watching it and watching it, and it's not feeding anything good. It's not. And I think there have been studies published recently that I haven't personally checked out, but it's saying that it does eventually eventually cause a problem in the subconscious of the brain when you're watching it for comfort. When you're watching something negative and destructive for comfort, then that's not a good environment for your brain to be in. Anyways, in the movie, what he wrote, the village that they were living in, like the village thought of him as like a prophecy, I guess, and they all became very possessed with him. And it showed a very interesting perspective on what an audience can turn into and what being like a celebrity or major, icon could feel like. And it would be a nightmare. That movie was a nightmare for me. Like I was watching that, and if that ever turned out to be my life, and people were that crazy trying to get at me, it would like I don't know how they handle that. The people who have that status, I think that is a tremendous thing to navigate that most people have no idea even exists. It's a landscape they're never gonna be on, and that's an interesting movie. I can't remember the name of it, and I apologize about that, but. Yeah, a loyal audience can begin to feel like a prison. A musician might begin working in a particular genre because it's the one they love and might achieve great success with it. If their taste changes, they may feel chained to the old way because they're now managers, publicists, agents, assistants, and others who have a stake in their commercial success. On a personal level, they may even tie their own identity to the style of work they've inhabited in the past. That, I think, is a very common occurrence. I think nearly everybody gets lost in what they're doing. I feel like in a large sense that's one of the main reasons or the main ways to stay sane. Just hyperfixate on something so you can't like I feel like the key to happiness is being so busy that you don't even realize you're not unhappy, like just don't have the time, idle hands are the devil's playground, so just stay busy. Find something. Keep yourself busy. Create, develop, innovate. We need it. We're waiting on it. We love to have it. We're waiting to see what you can make, what you could do, who you can be. Whenever an instinct toward movement and evolution arises, it's wise to listen to it. Now, I've referenced this before, but I'll reread this. Whenever an instinct toward movement and evolution arises, it's wise to listen to it. Steve Jobs, when he visited, I believe Thailand, I think I misspoke last time and said a different country, I forget, but I think it was Thailand this time. But when he visited it, he said it was not a desirable trip, but he learned to follow his heart and intuition. And he says that if you are to follow your heart and intuition, it somehow already knows what you truly want. So I'll say what Rick Rubin said again. Whenever an instinct toward a movement and evolution arises, it's wise to listen to it. All right. The goddess of fortune. That's what this is right here. It's wrapped around my ear, right? I got it because I understood that listening to the people who have experienced life before I have knowledge that I don't have yet. And I can acquire it before I experience the event or situation. And it's wise to get that information from them so you have a little bit of background on what's going to happen in the future. The alternative, being trapped by a fear of losing ground, is a dead end. You may lose your enjoyment and belief in the work because it's no longer true to you. As a result, the work may ring hollow and fail to engage the audience anyway. That was Mr. Pickles meow. But yeah, yeah, losing ground. That's exact. Because if you don't all right, thoughts are going around. There's thoughts going around everywhere right now, and I'm not being weird. I am weird, but thoughts are going around, and it might be in my head right now. But guess what? If I don't hold on to it and I don't act and execute on this idea, then it's going to go to somebody else, and somebody else will do it. And that's what I feel like this is saying. It's a fear of losing ground. You need to act. That philosophy textbook, I will always go back to that. The only truly eternal acts are pure action. Pure action. Execute, execute. Stop procrastinating. You have a thought, see if it works out. Fail fast. Consider that it might not have been your initial style that attracted success, but your personal passion within it. See, that's the key. When I started making music, I would start showing people and I would be having a great time. singing along, screaming, whatever, dancing, and they'd be like, "That's what's gonna sell this," or what that's like the feeling behind it that you need to bring to it, and it's exactly right. That the passion is what people want to see, the effort, the feeling, the actual connection to the internal, you know, world you got going on. That's what people want. And that's why that audience thing gets kind of weird sometimes, because sometimes they want a lot of it and it's not really like that. So if your passion changes course, follow it. Your trust in your instincts and excitement are what resonate with others. That same outcome can be viewed as a great success or a terrible failure, depending on the perspective. This perspective this perception, sorry, can have a momentum that's carried forth through the writer's career. Being labeled a failure with a work that was successful by most other metrics can make moving forward that much more difficult to navigate. This is why it's grounding to protect your personal understanding of success and to make each new work, no matter where you stand on the ladder of public perception, like you have nothing to lose. You have nothing to lose. You have nothing to lose. And the things that go away, you never lost because you probably never had them and they were never yours. You're good. I promise. If we can tune into the idea of making things and sharing them without being attached to the outcome, the work is more likely to arrive in its truest form. When I first got on stage in Manhattan, or actually in Brooklyn, in this basement, and it was 8 Mile, bro. I got the fucking mic taken out of my hand. Right as I was about to play a song called Dead Ended that I have up on SoundCloud. And yeah, it was just, I never had the thought of performing it while I was making the music. And then right when I got the mic and I was about to, I was like, oh shit. I was like, that's a part of this. I forgot. And the first time didn't go so well. The second time I went to an open mic in Manhattan and I did really well. Like, to the audience's ideas. All right, they said some things that were outlandish. Okay, I don't even really want to repeat them really, but they received the music very well, and unfortunately, I really kind of just stopped going. And that's something personally I kind of noticed about myself is that in certain things I do, once I get a certain response, it's like I'm fulfilled in that, and it's like, what else do I want from that? Because most of the time whatever else I want from that is just an ego driven thing, and so it's hard for me to find the flame to go do it again. But like I said, I started this video with something I wrote today, so that's coming back a little bit more. And I'm just gonna allow it to. If it does, it does. I hope it does. I love writing. I love writing. You should check out my SoundCloud. I'll try to put the link in the bio of this, but it's just a backwards J, right? Because my nickname used to be J Back in high school because my name is Jake Backiel, and then I ended up changing it to just a backwards J because I thought that was cool. And it's like J Back, the back J, backwards J. It's cool. And it's like you can't really search it. You gotta like fucking reverse the text and then search it. I like that. Or you could just look up Adam's ill-fated encountering with Eve. That song I think will pop up always, and that's an interesting one. That one I made with my buddy Ricky with the socks. Shout out to him, man. I'll never forget. He said he was gonna stop making beats and stuff and just do like paintings and drawings, and he told me to stick with it because he said he saw something, and I'll never forget that. And people like that, man, yeah, good people, good people. We need them. When the work has 5 mistakes, it's not yet completed. When it has 8 mistakes, it might be. That's the last one I'm gonna say. Man, ain't that right? Is not yet completed. When it has eight mistakes, it might be. Man, that's why I love all my tattoos. Like, yeah, like I don't like this fine line type stuff. Like, I want it to look a little rough. Everything in life is not perfect. Like, nothing. I've yet to see something like it, and I just like the character of something that's just a little bit off. I guess I don't know. When it has eight mistakes, it might be right. It might be. Might need 10. I like that a lot. Fucking what Bob Ross, mistakes are happy accidents, you know? They are. And painting, you really realize that. Because it's like, yeah, you paint something, you're like, oh man, I just painted that. But then it's like, oh, I can do this with that. And then it works and it's cooler. So it's like, and that's the adaptability with the consistency that I was talking about. Like, you have to have that ability to change the perspective from what you thought it was going to be, if it changes, to be able to handle the new thing now. And that a lot of people have a tough time with. And it's understandable because, again, we're not taught these things. We're taught very remedial subject matter throughout our school years that really does not apply to us excelling in existing. And it's wild to me that that's the case. You'd think if we spent so much time, it would be to develop a productive member of society rather than just a cog in the machine. But I believe J.D. Rockefeller has been quoted saying he did not want a nation of thinkers. J.D. Rockefeller quoted, "I did not want a nation of thinkers. I want a nation of workers." And supposedly the school system was developed coinciding with that idea. And then people also talk about how supposedly the school system is a direct replication of the prison system based off of this, the scheduling of the bell and whatever the fuck. Like, you go from here to here when you're supposed to. And yeah, it's like I think we are kind of programmed to just go here to there when we're supposed to, finish this deadline, go here, go there now, and here. And it's like, if you can detach from that, like really detach from that, and it's tough because it's like you feel like you're not doing what you're supposed to be doing in life, but it's okay. It's okay. I promise it's okay because you'll figure it out. You know why? Because we're human beings with a brain that are very creative, and especially if there are external pressures or if we have a certain motivation within. So if we start with that, we can basically do anything. And so I think it would be better for people to detach from the upbringing that they've had. I know that there's an immense amount of trauma in that for most people, I guess. I don't know if it's for most people, but I mean, I'm sure it is for most people because I feel like as a child, like I mean, for me, for instance, I look back and I feel like I might have just misinterpreted some situations. Like, I had some emotions that maybe weren't accurate off of what was really going on, but I still felt that way and maybe had trauma from that experience, right? So it's strange that way, and I don't know much about the trauma or dealing with it per se. Um, But if you can just detach from that, but hold on to the kid that was before whatever changed that kid, get back to the kid and figure out, talk to the kid. What did that kid want? How did he feel? What did he see the world as? And then try to re-embody that. I feel like that's our spirit. When we're born, that's our spirit. That's why it's so pure, beautiful. It looks like it's glowing. It's our spirit that's showing. And then through the years, we become this concrete form of a human being. And it's like if we were able to hold on to that essence, this world is a playground. That cute girl in Yes Man with Jim Carrey said so. And I believe her. It's a playground. Play while you're here. Play. Do what you want to do. Do what you want to do. Not just 2 days out of the week. Every day. Every day. The universe makes way for you. I promise. It does. You find the venue, the opportunity, the alley, the route, the path, the road, the connection, the network, and whatever. It happens if you start putting yourself in those situations. You just got to get out of the monotony. And it's tough because it's normal, familiar, comfortable. But living an artistic life, living one that you create, I will die on that. I will die that way. Like, I will be this way until I die. There's no way other for me to be. And I think people appreciate that. Some, not everybody does, and that's fine, you know. But I think the ripples that occur are far greater of a benefit to the world being this, being true, than if I was a lot of other things. So paint something, paint something, paint anything, draw something, write something, write a poem. How'd you feel about like a certain memory? Start to romanticize it. Talk about the smell of the flower that you might not have even noticed before, but now you do. Also, look up the song Life of an Artist by Daniel Johnston. If you've never heard of Daniel Johnston, you should look into him. There's a really cool t shirt that Kurt Cobain used to wear that was his drawing. Kurt Cobain used to wear a t shirt that had Daniel Johnston's drawing on it. Daniel Johnston was claimed to be an artist for the artists, and he was absolutely that. I'll never forget, I found the tape when I was living in Patchogue, Long Island. When I was a diesel mechanic, there was this little spot in town that had records and boxes of cassettes, and I got a little boom box, and I found a Daniel Johnston one. I don't even remember what it was, but it had "Life of an Artist" on it or something. I mean, it had "Life of an Artist" on it. I know that, but I was just blown away by how raw the audio was, and just, yeah, man. He was on the team. He was on the fucking team, man. Hell yeah. Hell yeah.